Hello there, YouTube. This is the Rogue Gem Player, and I'm coming at you with a Gold Pride Adventure Punk deck profile for July. No ban list yet. Thought I'd bring something really kind of. It's kind of old for the variant that I'm playing, but it is kind of unique, so I thought I'd bring it up to you guys. So let's get right into it. Main deck's 47. It's a little bit bulky. You could probably cut there's like 5 cards you could probably cut in this deck easily to make it 42. Maybe more if you really wanted to. So let's start with for the punk stuff. So we're playing 3 copies of Xiamen. Pay 600, add a punk monster from deck to hand. This is your bread and butter card. You need this to get into the rest of the deck in order to provide you more plays. It's important. You need to be able to access your level 3s to go into your various other monsters in order to set up your plays and get your advantage engine going. So we are then playing for kind of like mostly the only other 3 of is 3 copies of Foxy Tune. You're playing 3 of this. This is the best like non-level 3 because you can ditch this to send a card from hand to graveyard to special any punk from deck, provided it's not level 8. But you're going to be summoning things like Xiamen and things like that off of its effect in order to generate that endless advantage because you're going to go into other things. We're playing 1 copy of Ogre Dance. The deck dies to Droll, unfortunately, and not to mention this card is while it's a 1-for-1 card, it only adds from deck to hand, so it doesn't actually get monsters on board, which is kind of one of the things you need to worry about. But it is a level 8 that you can summon, and there are occasions where you kind of need to use its effect. So that's the only the only high the level 8s. We're playing 1 copy of Deer Note. You're using it for the combo. You have to be able to summon this. If you do draw it, it's not the end of the world, but there are combo plays where you can kind of just get it out of your hand. And then for the level 3s, the remaining level 3s, we're playing 1 Sharkusai to make our Rising Carp, the 1 copy of Wagon in order to get into the field spell and draw 2, and then the 1 Madam Spider to get into your trap. You are going to, if you play this deck correctly, you are going to resolve all 3 effects in the same turn. So it generates you all kinds of advantage. And they're level 3s, which is important because you can make, for the Gold Pride stuff, the Chariot carry. So now we go into the Gold Pride stuff. The only 3 of in the deck we play is 3 copies of Leon. This is the best like card that you can hard draw, just because on summon you can bring on normal or special. You can bring back any of the Gold Pride monsters that are not warriors, which is important because you can. Yeah, it locks you into Gold Pride monsters for the rest of the turn if you summon from the extra deck, but the fact that you can just bring this out and go into any level 6 synchro, any level not, the level 6 synchros, things like that. Not to mention the trap that we play in this deck will summon it, so you can kind of do some weird things with it. It also has the quick effect to quick synchro, which, by the way, if you don't use the first effect of Leon on your opponent's turn and you use the effect to quick synchro, you can summon any synchro off of this effect. It's only when you resolve its first effect where you're locked into Gold Prides for the turn. But you do have to use Gold Pride monsters as material if you do that effect. We are then playing 2 copies of Captain Carey. She's really in here just to get the trap. You don't want to draw this card, but you have to play 3 copies in order to resolve its effect to reveal 3. Once your life points are lower than your opponent's, it's an instant extender, which is actually pretty important because you pay life points so much that you're able to just always have access to these guys. So we have that. And then for the one-ofs, we're playing 1 of the Eliminator. We are playing the level 8 synchro. It is a level 5 that is a tuner that can generate a token. Yes, you can only use it for gold pride monsters if you use if you use that effect, that type of thing. One roller baller, you're gonna make the fusion. The fusion is actually pretty broken, and then the one copy of Nitro Head. For corner cases, it does give your opponent a token, which is actually which is pretty cool. You can blow up opponent cards, that type of thing. It is a level 8 that you can bring back with Leon to make level 11 synchros. It's also for rank 8 plays if you choose to do so, if you happen to draw it. And then for the adventure package, you can kind of trim the ratios to whatever you want. 3 water enchances at the temple. You could probably play 2 of this and be fine. But this card basically says get into your Rite of Amarzyr, which gets you your adventure token, which gets into the rest of the deck. And then we're playing 1 copy of Griffin Rider. If you can resolve this card, you're golden, because it makes it very hard to your opponent to disrupt you. Because one of the problems with this deck is it's kind of just, if it gets disrupted very specifically at a choke point, the deck kind of crumbles. Not to mention there are certain ways you can play this deck where you don't actually have to normal summon to resolve any of the effects. We're then playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to start off our hand trap lineup. You have to play them. If you have to play one specific hand trap, Ash is the most generic. It gives you the more bang for your buck than any of the other hand traps. Now, the power level of the other hand traps vary by format, but at the very least, this one is always relevant because everyone's always searching, everyone's always digging into the deck for something. That's just how the game works now. We are then playing 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird. It's probably the second best right now, just because you can just hit them right after they do a search and they're kind of jammed. And then we're playing 1 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. You don't see this in every deck. The reason why this is good in this deck is because you can actually search it. It's an E-Tally target that you can still use this effect on. You can add it from deck to hand through Jam, Drag, and Drive. So it's kind of one of those cards that, because it's searchable, you don't have to actually play multiples if you don't have to. Now, for spells, we're starting with 2 copies of Better Luck Next Time. You're going to, because the Exceed monster, Chariot Carry, searches this, when you activate it, you add a gold pride from deck to hand, and you lose life equal to it. But the cool thing is because you do lose life, you're instantly able to summon them from hand if you have less life points than your opponent. So if you're going first and you draw these, that's fine. You're going to search it eventually. You can use the second copy as a discard if you absolutely have to. Now, when the gold pride extra deck monsters have an effect where if they use their onboard effect, they will bounce themselves back to the extra deck. When you do so, you can draw 1 card. Okay, so keep that in mind. So you get a free draw every turn because you're going to use like the Chariot Carry usually. The Extreme Jam Extreme section. Once per turn, banish a P.U.N.K, special a P.U.N.K from hand. If you pay to activate a Psychic monster effect, you can draw 1 card. You can do that twice per turn, so keep that in mind. And it's searchable by the Wagon. So the combo basically doesn't require you to play more than 1 copy. You can if you want, and like play a Terraformer or something. So the adventure stuff. 3 Rite of Aramazir. This is the card that you basically says you need to get this. The purpose of playing the adventure stuff is to give you an Omni Negate, but also giving you kind of like something that you can kind of just play every turn. So this is kind of neat. It does jam you from being able to activate effects of monsters on the field except special summon monsters during the turn. So if you do normal summon one of the P.U.N.K monsters and use their effects, you are locked out of this card. So keep that in mind. But there are play strings where they allow you to still play what you need. So, and then we're playing the 1 copy of Faithful Adventure to search off of it, and then the 1 copy of Dracoback. It's a bounce that you can use. It's kind of important. So, more disruption. And then for the remaining spells, 3 copies of Emergency Teleport, because the Punk level 3s do not need to be normal summoned to activate their effects. So this is kind of cool, and it makes Xiamen a very, very searchable. There's like lots of ways. It makes the deck super consistent. And then I'm gonna put these two up front: is Exceed Force and Full Armor Xyz. This is for the Full Armor Xyz package. I'll get into that when we get into the extra deck. Just keep that in mind. I'll come back to this at the very end. So I'll set that aside. For traps, 1 copy of Start Your Engines and 1 copy of Dangerous Gabu. These are the searchable traps that you're going to go through when you do your combo. This summons, you pick 3 gold prides from your deck. Your opponent picks one of them and special summons it. When your opponent normal or special summons a monster, and then destroy the summoned monster. So this is kind of a disruption that gives you advantage. And then this is an end perm that you can search. That also, if you control a punk, you gain life equal to that monster's original attack. So keep that in mind. And then 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. As long as this card remains legal, you should always play this, because it is better than Effect Veiler in some ways. Being able to set this and then jam your opponent's entire column. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with the fusions. The 1 copy of Rising Carp and the 1 copy of Pinballer. Rising Carp is used for the combo to summon punks from the deck in order to go into Jam Dragon Drive. And then Pinballer is kind of like a Relinquish in a way, where you can use as many gold pride monsters as material. And then if your life points are lower than your opponent cannot respond to it, which is pretty cool. And then it, it's pretty cool. All the gold pride synchros or extra deck monsters have an effect where if they use their effects, they bounce themselves to the extra deck, but they also summon the original monster. So keep that in mind. So for the synchros, the 1 copy of Star Leon. You target a face-up card monster your opponent controls. This card gains attack, and then if your life points were lower, you can destroy that monster. It floats into Star Leon, Leon. The 1 copy of Eradicator. So during your opponent's turn, you could target a extra deck monster on the field, or if your opponent's life points are lower, you can destroy 2 of them. Basically, blow up an extra deck monster and destroy them. If you have less life points, you can pick 2. And then it obviously returns to the extra deck to summon Eliminator from the deck or graveyard. So this is kind of another disruption. It's a synchro that you can summon under Leon when you use its first effect. That's kind of the purpose of this. So, Jam Dragon Drive, you're going to resolve it. It's pretty cool. It's really good. It's a disruption because you can, when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can bring this, when it's in the graveyard, you can bring it back. So it's a free summon. It searches as punk when it's summoned, or if it's special summoned by the effect of a punk card, you pay 6 to add a level 3 psychic, and either send it to the graveyard or add it to your hand. You're going to always add to hand. The 1 Dragite, this is because you are playing Rising Carp and it puts itself in the graveyard almost immediately after you summon it. So you always have a water monster to use. So you always have an Omni Negate. So keep that in mind. The 1 Shenying for level 10s. And then for the level 11s, we're playing the 1 Amazing Dragon. This is really, really good. You should always play a copy of this. And then Psychic and Punisher. If you have ability to play this card, you should always try to do so. It completely walls decks. For extra deck, we're playing 1 copy of Chariot Carry and the 1 copy of number 38. You have to. It's a level 8. It's a rank 8 that goes into spell negates. Now, for this next package, it's right now it's a 4-card package, but you can cut it if you really need to. And that is the Armored Xyz package. We're playing 1 copy of Xyz Armored Torpedo, 1 Armor Fortress, 1 copy of Crystal Zero Lancer, and then the 1 copy of Dark Knight Lancer. So the whole purpose of this and the Xyz Force and the Full Armor Xyz is if you don't need to access Chariot Carry, you make Xyz Armor Torpedo, uses effect to detach 2 material to draw a card, and then you make Armored Fortress. You detach to add or send Xyz Force or Full Armor Xyz, depending on what you need to do, you can use full armor Xyz on the field to Xyz on your opponent's turn. But what you're trying to do is go into Xyz Force to dump this card, okay, so that you can immediately banish it to bring back a monster. So what you do is after you've resolved it, you would basically Xyz ladder into this guy. When you use full armor Xyz to banish itself to attach a Xyz monster from the graveyard, he triggers and basically is kind of like a Silent Honor Arc where he sucks up a monster as material. So it's another disruption that's also quick effect because of the trap. And then Xyz Force, on Exiles of the turn, you send it to the graveyard. You can detach a material and banish this card from graveyard to select a Xyz monster. That especially if you detach this to bring it back, so that's pretty cool. So it's kind of one of those, because you have a lot of free space, because of the way the deck is playing, you kind of have options. So I mean, you can cut it if you'd like. I kind of like it. I've been trying to try it out in a lot of decks because it's kind of one of those like engines that you can kind of play like 2 extra cards for, and they're not really bricks because you always have access to one of them. In worst case scenario, you're just gonna Xyz ladder up anyway. So yeah, that's the deck, guys. It's pretty cool. It's kind of one of those decks where there's so much versatility. You could play goblin stuff in it. There's all kinds of other things because it's a rank 3 toolbox is what this is. It's rank 3s that go into level 8 synchros and all kinds of different stuff. So let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.